His dream changes like clouds from wind, and he is not so sure now that his mother was right when she praised that man who made a field his bride. Watching that man on a hill whose spirit is a wet sap flapping about the knees of time, crossed in Christ's name. In his youth, he was suspicious as a rat near strange bread when girls laughed. When they screamed, he knew that they would cry fillies in season. He would not walk the easy road to destiny. He dreamt the innocence of young brambles to hooked treachery or the grip of a regular thieves. No man escapes. It could not be that back of the hills love was free and pictures straight. No monster hand lifted up children and put down apes as here. Oh God, if I had been wiser. That is his sigh, like throbbing breeze among the thistles. He looked to his house and habit. Oh God, if I had been wiser. But now a crumpled leaf from the white thorn darts like a frightened robin, and a fence shows the green of after grass through a little window, and he knows that his own heart is calling his mother a liar. God's truth is love, even in the grotesque shapes of his foulest fire. The horse cranes its neck through winds and stones to lay passion in the crawling clover. In the gap there's a bush weighted with boulders like morality. The fools of life bleed if they climb over. The wind leans from braes and the cold foot leaves are holed with rust. Rain fills the cracks and the soul-plagued grooves. The yellow sun reflects in dark mind the poisoned light in puddles shaped by hooves. Come with me, imagination, into this iron house, and we will stand in the doorway and watch the years run back, and we will know what a peasant's left hand wrote on the page. Be easy October. No cattle hen, horse neigh, tree sow, duck quack.
It's called Google Earth. We started in Africa, the world at our fingertips, dropped in on your house in Zimbabwe, threading our way north out of Harare into the suburbs, magnifying the streets, the forms of things unknown, till we spotted your mum's white Mercedes parked in the driveway, seeming more strange than true. The three of us huddled round a monitor in Streatham. You pointed out the swimming pool and stables. We whizzed out, looking down on our blue planet. Then, like gods, zoomed in towards Ireland, taking the road west from Cork to Kinsale, following the Bandon River through Inishannon, turning off and leapfrogging over farms to find our home framed in fields of barley. Enlarged the display to see our sycamore's leaves waving back. Then, with the touch of a button, we were smack bang in central London, tracing our footsteps earlier in the day, walking the wobbly bridge between St Paul's and Tate Modern, the London Eye staring majestically over the Thames. South through Brixton into Streatham, one sees more devils than vast hell can hold, the blank expressions of millions of roofs gazing squarely up at us, while we made our way down the avenue, as if we were trying to sneak up on ourselves, till there we were, right outside the door, the lunatic, the lover, and the poet, peeping through the computer screen like a window to our souls.
one summer morning, I sat with her among the rooftops of the city, and the fat white clouds moved slowly above us. It was so early as to be a city lost in sleep, and she was really very near to me. My want for her was intense and long-standing, 3 months at least, an eternity. And I was close enough to see the opaque down of her bare arms, each strand curling like a comma at its tip, and the tiny scratched flecks of dark against the hazel of her eyes. She was just a stretch and a clasp away. The city beneath was lost in the peaceful, empty moments of 5 a.m. It might be a perfect Saturday of July. All I had to do was make the move. Nor was it my imagination that her shoulder inclined just slightly towards me. There was a dip in the way she held it, the shoulder bare also beneath the strap of her vest top. The shoulder's dip must signal an opening. No, I don't want to sound painfully cool here, I said. I believe you, she said. But you may be looking at the man who introduced Detroit techno to the savages of Cork City, I said. We talked about the music and the clothes and the pills and the hours we had spent together, the nightclub, and then the party at the flat that was rented by friends, all of whom were panned out inside now, asleep or halfways there. And we had climbed onto the rooftop to smoke a joint and see the day come true. Every line had the dry, inflected drag of irony. Feeling was unmentionable. We talked about everything except the space between us. I sat on my hands. I thought about maybe kissing her shoulder. How would that be for a move? It would be the work of 2 seconds, a lean-to, a planting of the lips, a withdrawal, and a shy little glance to follow. I should maybe think about going, she said. I really needed to make the move. Don't yet, I said. The pool of silence that was the city beneath us was broken but infrequently. A scratch of car noise from a cab rank, the tiny bark of a dog from high in the estate somewhere very distant, the sound of the traffic lights turning on the corner of Washington Street and Grand Parade. Across the way, the church in its steeple, the grey of old devotion, the greened brass of its dome. I turned towards her and I looked at her directly, and her eyes braved me to make the move. So any plans for Saturday, I said. I read again the disappointment in her. She was urging me on, but onwards I could not make ground. Depends, she said. Her shoulder dipped a fraction again. Now was the moment. I sat on my hands. I looked out across the rooftops and saw nothing, registered nothing but the hard, quickening beat of my heart. So, how's it you know Cecile again, I said. She sighed and explained the connection. It was through the university. They had shared a place on French's Quay as first years. And how do you know Cecile? She said it in an exaggeratedly bored tone, an automated drone, the words running into each other, a mockery of me. The flat, high on Washington Street, was Cecile's. Cecile had, in her bedroom, loudly been fucking some boy for most of the night. Cecile had no trouble ever making the moves. Cecile's had a good night anyway, I said. Yeah, she said. Maybe I should just ask, I thought. Can I kiss you? How would that sound? A gull descended to the lip of the church's roof. Across the breadth of the street, the mad stare of its eye was vivid and comical and a taunt to me. I allowed my left hand to emerge from beneath my buttock, and I let it travel the space between us along the cool stone of the roof's ledge, and I placed my fingers lightly on hers. No response. I listened for a change in her breathing. Nothing. She was still even and steady, and I turned to look at her, and blindly still she looked out and across the rooftops. She did not incline her head towards me, and she did not speak at all. I drew back my fingers, but only by an inch or two. I looked to see if she would withdraw her hand to a safer distance, but she did not. She breathed evenly. Hard rasps of jungle panic ripped up my chest inside. I thought, what's the worst that can happen here? The worst that can happen is I lurch and she recoils. So much worse not to try. So all I have to do now, I said, is make the move. Oh, Jesus Christ, she said. What? I said. You're killing this stone dead, she said. But she did not get up from the ledge. She did not leave my side. She allowed the silence to swell and fill out again. Now birdsong taunted from the direction of Bishop Lucy Park. What if I left it to her to make the move? Procreation would end and the world would stop spinning. And the birdsong rose up now and strung its notes along the rooftops and linked them in a jagged line. The rise and fall of the steeples and chimneys was as though a musical notation. There was dead quiet from the flat inside. The last awake, we had the morning to ourselves. I really like you, I said. Okay, she said. I mean really, really. So very hard to put the words out, but they were on the air and at their work now. I turned to look at her, and she turned but to look away. I saw that a flush had risen to her cheek. The perfect knit of her collarbone as it turned, and flawless brown from a good June, the smooth curve of the shoulder, like rounded stone made smooth by water. It was as if my words had just flown up into the white sky above and softly imploded there, as if an answer was not needed. Okay, I said. This meant everything. All of summer would be coloured by this. She did not seem to breathe then. I kept my eyes fixed on her as she looked anywhere but at me, and I counted the seconds away as she did not turn to face me. In my evil dreams, I had seen myself approach her with lascivious intent, with a cold, thin, cruel, sexual mouth just parted slight ways, and I went deep then to find a way to make this suave magic come real. Still, something in her presence unmanned me. Perhaps it was the sense that I was aiming a bit too high. She was really quite beautiful. Turn to me, I said. She laughed, but it was only a tiny laugh and it had a trace of shock in it. I was forceful now out of nowhere. And she turned to me. I leaned in without pause. I did not allow the words to jumble up in my head and forbid me, and I placed my lips on hers. She responded well enough. The opening of the lips was made. Our jawbones worked slowly and devoutly, but we did not ascend to the heavens. The kiss did not take. After I don't know how long, maybe a half a minute, maybe a little more, she placed very lightly on my chest the tips of her fingers, and the tiny pressure she applied there told me it was over already. The pressure was of a fuse that fed directly from her heart. Gently so with her fingertips, she pushed me back to break the kiss. She turned quickly to look away, and I turned as quickly to look in the opposite direction. My heart opened and took in every black poison the morning could offer. Midsummer. Slant of the sun coming through the white clouded sky then, and the church across the way drew its own shade over half of Washington Street. A fat pigeon flew beneath the eave of the church, and only the heavy beat of its wings on the air broke the dark spell that had formed about us. I turned to look at her, and she responded with a half smile, half sorrowful. She placed her palms face down on the ledge and pushed herself to a stand, languid, her movement, to let me know what I was missing. I'm going to go, she said. I nodded as coolly as I could. That I could muster even the tiniest measure of cool was credit to my resilience. I was resilient as the small medieval city beneath. Throw a siege upon me and I will withstand it. She crawled through the Velux window to the flat inside, and I heard after a few moments the turn and click on the flat's door, then her footsteps on the stair. With her steps fading, the summer went, even as the sun came higher across the rooftops and warmed the stone ledge and the slates, and I looked out across the still, quiet city, and I sat there for hours and for months and for years. I sat there until all that had been about us had faded again to nothing, until the sound of the crowd died and the music had ended, and we all trailed home along the sleeping streets with you packed away and life about to begin. Thanks very much.
It was written for my mother. It's called The Cord. I used to lie on the floor for hours after school, with the phone cradled between my shoulder and my ear, a plate of cold rice to my left, my school books to my right. Twirling the cord between my fingers, I spoke to friends who recognized the language of our realm. Throats and lungs swollen, we talked into the heart of the night, toying with the idea of hair dye and suicide, about the boys who didn't love us, who we loved too much, the pang of the nights. Each sentence was new territory, a door someone was rushing into, the glass shattering with delirium, with knowledge and fear. My mother never complained about the phone bill, what it cost for her daughter to disappear behind a door, watching the cord stretching its muscle away from her. Perhaps she thought it was the only way she could reach me, sending me away to speak in the underworld. As long as I was speaking, she could put my ear to the tenuous earth, allow me to listen, to decipher. And these were the elements of my mother. The earthed wire, the burning cable, as if she flowed into the room with me to somehow say, stay where I can reach you, the dim room, the dark earth. Speak of this, and when you feel removed from it, I will pull the cord and take you back towards me. When my visitor asked me how old I was, I told him to count 1 year for each bald bone of a bullock he found in my house. Pressing a curse into the air, he hauled himself up to the attic and began tossing, counting bones into the downstairs room, murmuring beneath the clatter, the rattle, the brittle echo, the shocked toss, the heave, the pitch, the cast and catch, the cracking whirl. He'd been told I was a witch. He'd been told I was a witch, my house a den of blood, slurred with the salty stench of flesh. He looked for marks, for rings, for bloodied limbs. For a day and a night and a day I stayed in the downstairs room, sniffing and loving his doubts, his disgust, and a pile of old fevers, death white now. When I first heard them, my thousand memories falling around me, I felt a flush, like a birth pain, as if my body echoed when it heard, remembering my pleasures, my hungers. I turn in the early dark to remember. One night in this room, the small ecstasies, fierce, shuddering, solder of the skin, the flame when later I asked for more. I am filled with it, almost savouring his antwer, hands shredded to the wrist, an armful of answers, thumbing the numbers against his fingertips. And down he comes with a bone for a tongue, rattling out his reasons and loathing, his neighbourly stories and boastings. I noticed his hands shake as he went for the door, the fear in the deep couch of his face as he swore. I drove him out with numbers, the years within my mind, one of the anguish and adoring parts, one with a scent, the love notes high in my throat, one of a stone cradle gleaming with dew, the haunting things. When I was a woman, lying on my back by the whispering lakeside, and the ground around me was strewn with flowers.
hear them too tonight. So what I've decided to do with Ryle this evening is pick out the pieces that I feel are maybe a little bit controversial, a little bit, and certainly historical statements, but just to clarify them and maybe draw them, ask Ryle to tease out what it is exactly that these interviews, or what this interviewee on the recording is saying. So to start this evening, Ryle, I've chosen a snippet from Harry Boland. Now I know Harry Boland wasn't exactly, or not Harry. Harry was a very good friend of Mick Collins, but Harry's father, Gerald, didn't particularly like Collins. You know that, and I know that. So, speaking to his nephew, whose name is also Harry Boland, I spoke to him at great length about the stories that were handed down, the memories, but I thought it was quite interesting how Mick Collins was introduced into the into the IRB in London, and this is exactly what he said.
Three boys. There was Gerald, Harry, and Edmund, and he joined the IRB and brought the other two into the IRB. Now, when Harry was very much involved in the GAA, and he went to London and into England, I'm not sure it was London, I suppose, and he met Michael Collins, and he introduced him into the IRB. When he came back, my father said, "You'll regret the day you brought that fella into the organisation."
Did he?
How true it was.
Yes.
You know, there's no question in the world.
Okay, I'll just pause there. And Ryle, the question is that true?
Well, I don't know if it's really true. I find it hard to believe that Harry Boland would have introduced Collins, because Collins was introduced into the IRB, I think, in 1909, and he would only been 19 at that stage, and Collins was very involved with the GAA in London. He was with the Geraldine Club. But there was one comment that he made at the very end that about his father, how it was something to the effect how true it was, that they'd regret the day that they introduced Collins. And I think it smacks of revisionism and the fact that there were problems between them. Jerry Boland certainly disliked Collins from an early stage, but I doubt that he disliked him from the first day. I doubt that he would even have known Collins from the first day. Mm-hmm. That Harry might have known it. Harry definitely got to know Collins before Jerry Boland did, before his brother did. And I think you have to be very careful about these kind of interviews. And you see, you're not talking to Jerry Boland, you're talking to Jerry Boland's son. And I'd be very leery about putting much credence in it.
Right. Yes, but I do feel though that he grew up. He knew his father. He would have.
Oh yeah, he would have heard this, and there was so much bitterness between the towards Collins in later life. The Bolands blamed Michael Collins for the killing of Harry Boland. Yeah. Now Michael Collins had nothing to do with it, but there were serious questions about the Free State troop that shot Harry Boland. You know, it was one of these cases he was trying to escape. It was almost like a black and tan thing. Yeah. And they did say from the very start that Collins was behind it, and that Collins certainly was upset by the killing, and as well that Collins's relationship with Kitty Kiernan. Harry Boland thought he was engaged to Kitty Kiernan at one stage. Apparently he wasn't, but Boland's mother did write to Kitty about how happy she was that Harry was engaged to Kitty, and there was this kind of triangle between Collins, Harry Boland and Kitty Kiernan. So it was a very strong relationship that went very sour during the Civil War.
Well,
And you have, when you're talking later, you have to take that into account, that maybe what the children had growing up is influenced by, I would think Harry Boland wasn't even born. I don't know when he was born. Harry Boland was
In
a
19
partner with
Yeah.
Charles Haughey. Haughey was born in 1925, I think.
he was born in 1929, so yes.
So
Yes.
he would have, it would have been stories he would have heard, and there was probably nobody in the house saying any good things about Michael Collins by then.
Right, well, he went on to say that that Collins's mind wasn't on the ball when he was signing the treaty, because he said that it was the women that were distracting him. No, it just you have to hear this.
I have the letters that he wrote to Kitty Kiernan, you know, and they were love letters. I felt embarrassed reading them, and he was asking her to come to America with him, that he was going off and all the rest of it. And then at the end, when she made her decision, he accepted it, that she was going to go with Michael Collins and that. But that was but when he came back, he said to Michael, I couldn't believe that you threw all your oaths and all the rest of it to the wind. And of course the reason was that in the treaty debate, in the treaty negotiations, as you'll find it in great detail in Miall O'Conaghan's book, he was still against signing it until Lady Lavery and Lady Maya Llewellyn Davis came in, and they were special ladies that Lloyd George had to talk people around for whatever reason, and they took Michael Collins out with them. Up to that, he was absolutely against signing. When he came back in again, he was prepared to sign.
And what do you think changed his mind?
I've not the slightest doubt about it, but they told him they were going to do the same as they did on Parnell. They were going to show that he had an illegitimate son with Maya Llewellyn Davis.
Is there any value?
How true is that?
Absolute rubbish.
Can you clarify that?
Number one, that they influenced Michael Collins. I know the Quinnigan book that he's talking about, and there's no evidence whatsoever to support any of it. The idea that Collins was persuaded by Hazel Lavery or Moya Llewellyn Davies on the night of the treaty is nonsense, because Collins agreed to sign the treaty before 6 o'clock when they left. Collins told Robert Barton he was signing the treaty, and Collins then didn't even return with the delegation to Hans Place where it was based. I don't know where he went. I don't know any evidence that he met Moya Llewellyn Davis, and the whole thing is, there is no evidence whatever that Collins had a legitimate son with Moya Llewellyn Davis. She was Moya O'Connor. I believe she was friendly with Collins' sister Henny, and that Collins probably knew her back in, you know, when he was a teenager.
Yeah.
Before, you're talking 10 years, 15 years earlier, 13 years earlier.
Yeah.
But to say that he had a child, I think, I'm not sure when Richard Llewellyn Davies was born, but I think it would have been around 1911 or something. He was a famous architect. But what evidence is there that there was any relationship with Moya Llewellyn Davies at this stage? She was married to Compton Llewellyn Davies, who actually was a solicitor for Lloyd George.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea that Collins was the father of her child, there's no evidence there was a relationship. Collins wrote numerous letters. Nobody has ever come up with a letter that he wrote to her in this period.
Yeah.
And it's just that, you know, you could just as easily say that Collins was the father of any son born in London, or any child born in London between 1907 and 1916 when he returned to Ireland. There's absolutely no evidence. Well, you know, I just find it mind-blowing, but there is no justification for saying that he was blackmailed into signing the treaty, because he had told Robert Bandon he was signing it, and that he wasn't even going to discuss it. And there is an account that when they were discussing the treaty, Collins stayed downstairs. He had announced he was signing it, and he wasn't talking to him about it. He came back after a couple of hours. And, you know, I mean, this idea that they blackmail. If they had blackmailed him, was he likely to remain friends with them?
Yes, but I mean, he was referring to the failing that he had, a soft spot for.
Well, you see, if you look at the early biographies of Collins, the first one was by Pierce Beasley, and Pierce Beasley said that Collins had no time for.
His voice made laughter free, and never, never thinks of me. Fare thee well, for I must leave thee. Do not let the parting grieve thee, and remember that the best of friends must part, must part. Adieu, adieu, kind friends, adieu, adieu, adieu. I can no longer stay with you, I'll hang my harp on a weeping willow tree. And may the world go well with thee.
Okay, I am in position. Like it's not easy. Now I need you to count down. Oh, I keep telling you. I need you to count down from 45 seconds for me, and I will try to escape. Can you do it? Yeah. Okay, here we go. I will start now. 45, 40, 43, 42, 41, 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, 33, No speeding up! Oh. Graceful as a swan.
best line is a railway line you travel and hope you never ride. It's a very fine line, a very short sign, telling you to wait, telling you the time. This body is mine till the day I die. Take care of it and it'll be fine. This pain's mine till the day I pack my weights away, my things goodbye. I imagine telling my soul that he wasn't that young and he wasn't that old. A little bit of fun went a little bit wrong, a little into trouble and the current was strong. My favorite track is a railway track that takes me away and I never come back, like a midnight sack music track. It's a fiction, that's a fact. Hope's a rope that pulls me aboard when I'm floating in the sea and it's a mile to the shore. And I've been wondering just how long hypothermia starts or a shark comes along. I imagine me telling my toe, well, he wasn't that young and he wasn't that old. A little bit of fun went a little bit wrong, a little into trouble and the current was strong.
like a mark on a mountainside, a grain in the sand amongst a million stones, pushing hard as he can, but the rock won't roll. Won't roll.
Triste, amer, sans alcool, des hauts sommets de l'ardeur, descend à de bien ménagères, tristes saveurs.
Love is no respecter of age or practicality, neither morality. Unabashed, she enters where she will, unheeding that her immortal fires burn human hearts.
No! No, Georgie, you can't do this to me. Because you love me. I love you. Don't leave me, George. Please.
of Achilles' heels, inky outcrops of rock, slumping into the sea, these thicky fingerprints-stained sheets of paper. I've been reborn as me more times than there are names for God. There are monasteries devoted to notating, tabulating, remembering and celebrating my birth date. My star charts expand in fractal arcs, astrologically etch-a-sketching infinity, light on dark, incline, stealing in cartwheels through galaxies. My consciousness is constantly, unconsciously caressed by requests. With respect to Father and Mother me, Sister and Brother me, Lover me silently with sighs lent by divinity, offers from the Agriculture Ministry to test the pH balance of the soil of my soul, to see if my moment seed needs fertilization with fresh strain through this poetry. And I can let it all come undone when I breathe in the heat that you exhale in front of me. A man could get drunk with all of this receiving. It's true. And yet I forget. Let myself spend my days banging my head off a wall, or maybe a glowing screen, or maybe some flapping pages, or some other winking phenomenon of fantasy that I think is maybe going to prop up this life that I'm trying to create for myself. It's not me. In this room, in this moment, your eyes, your smiles are the gentlest forceps that I've ever seen. To me, they make more sense than 1,000 machines. And all these struggles I embrace, all these horizon lines I chase, are just erasable traces of that perfect place, that perfect taste of our inside face. And we ourselves are nothing. Nothing more than the air we blow balloons with. Nothing more than the ink we draw cartoons with. Nothing more than a group of hearts and eyes and ears that know, unlike some, exactly how much a shy, excited human being like me might want to be seen, to be listened to.
Why the long face? Three men walked into a bar. You think one of them would have seen it? Two fish walk into a bar. Two fish in a tank. And one fish said to the other, "How do you steer this thing?"
Ta-da! A man was working in his kitchen with his real ladder because he couldn't get on with his step ladder. My mother bid me bind my hair with bands of rosy hue, tie up my sleeves with ribbons well, and lace my bodice blue. For why she cries, sit still and weep, while others dance and play, unless I scarce can go or creep, while blue babies away, unless I scarce can go or creep, while blue babies away, while blue babies away, is away. Water. Cup. Water in the cup.
look, children, there's a little teddy bear over there. Let's go over and say hello. Hello, teddy bear. How are you today? Oh my God, he's biting me! He's biting me! Oh no! He's bitten through one of my major arteries! I'm bleeding! I'm bleeding profusely! Run, children, run! Please, stop sucking on my intestines!
What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name that smells sweet. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name that smells sweet.
Yet at the same time, we have to keep it local. I mean, it's a local prerogative and it's local decisions.
So that's the whole gamut. You've got the whole gamut of decision making, really, from local decisions all the way up to international and global decisions. And we're celebrated in our ability. I mean, we know that we're peacemaking. We have a culture that is unequal throughout the world, really. And I think that's really why we're here.
In Bandon, at the end of this particularly Rugby Festival, rounding it all up, and yet it never really ends as such.
It doesn't end, we have an ongoing agenda, our diaries are full, and we've managed to fit in this particular engagement here in West Cork, or almost West Cork, absolutely.
And again, someplace in that border between West Cork and
I like to call it West-ish Cork.
West-ish.
And not that I would draw any parallels there now with that, indeed.
Will we just speak briefly about this evening? First we have this ongoing process, and then later we'll have a brief interval, and then there'll be another process, which is not a finished process either. It's also a work in progress, as all works are works in progress.
Now, it's really, we're here to share, we're here on an equal agenda and inclusive, so we're here to communicate, we're here to be.
We're in partnership with each other and in partnership with you also.
That's important. Now you notice when we have
contact.
We have contact with you. We're here to share.
As individuals and also collectively, you that are sitting here on the left and you also that are sitting there on the right, and even the lad on the camera. I think.
Now I'm going to just then move forward.
And to move forward politically, sometimes you have to move backwards. Which I'm doing.
Now, clearly Damien is doing that, and I can do that on my own terms. It's some kind of an identification with his activity, and there you go.
And go just sidle very slowly to my right. And this is not a political statement. This is just generally where we like to begin the piece.
We have begun the piece.
We have begun. Does it ever end or quite begin? But officially we begin it here after the introduction.
And we're just aware of our
appearance because we realise that we represent you, and we want to have our best foot forward all the time.
Short, 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 short. 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 Short.
Short term and medium term economic planning. Now that we find ourselves in this rather serious recession, we have to find ways to build sound infrastructures.
We arrive here in a spirit of concord. We have clear foundations, non-threatening body language, and from this point we can move forward. Clear foundation.
Now find ourselves involved in this lateral dialoguing.
This is called windmilling.
Building bridges across the divide.
We have a scope for a structured cooperation between us.
Absolute and total commitment to the process.
A party of steam and awareness of each other's dignity.
I totally respect you, Nicholas. Absolute, total respect.
And in this spirit of concord, we will now attempt to move forward, pushing the envelope even further.
We have the freedom of expression. And as long as we're actually moving forward, there is no actual issue.
I have the freedom to express my identity.
And I have the freedom to express my identity in a constantly changing perspectives.
We are reacting to every event as it occurs, aware of our mandate for the communities that we represent. Our working relationship is moving forward as we move forward in what is a parallel and productive relationship. In this way, it has been shown over years, we can try.
Push the envelope once more.
One point of contact with the floor.
We're both preaching from the same hymn sheet now.
This is new and uncharted choreography. And as our understanding increases, we arrive at totally unexpected areas. Our perspective may shift.
One moment, Nicholas appeared dominant, and the next he's not, and yet, somehow, we're working it together. Giving each other support and freedom.
Freedom of expression, freedom of being representative of our community.
Non-violent, absolutely non-violent methods of communication.
We are public servants at all times.
We can agree to disagree, but that is not the problem.
Public servants.
We have dignity and freedom of expression. Now, this moment, I have chosen to self-determine. Now, that is my unalienable right as a citizen. And with this God-given body, I'm going to walk this border of light, bringing myself closer to you, the public. Thank you. Thank you for being part of the process. Thank you for joining us today. Representatives of the left and the right. I'm going to take up a new position over here on the left. Again, it's not a political statement. It's just where I wish to stand right now.
I have an opportunity now to reflect on my position as an individual. Take charge, take a wee tally of what I've achieved in relation to my colleague, Damien, and then to find a new negotiating stance, perhaps a negotiating position with the floor, very much aware of my feet in contact with the floor. It's very important, so it is. At any moment I might choose to move forward, as is my right. I have the right within our agreement, our given framework. That's important to move forward. And I've now done that on my terms. I can also choose to move backwards on my terms. That's important. I can also choose to go a little bit further, a little bit faster, both forwards and backwards. That's all allowable within our agreement. My colleague's choosing to stand still, and he may choose to do that. So you notice we can develop. We have subtle rules of engagement, but they are working, and we are moving forward together, and we're finding a shared agenda. He's still choosing to move forward, but he's moved to his right. That's absolutely allowable. And now I'm picking up some body language, and I may choose to mirror it in my terms. Okay. And I may take an initiative as well. This is all perfectly allowable in what we've discussed.
It's simply a process of moving forward from A to B. Basically A to B, simply A to B.
We have negotiated.
Thank you.